share your screen. Go ahead and share your screen, Lisa. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Joe Napoli, your city manager again, and welcome to our, I think this is now our 8th Zoom at noon. That means we've been doing this for 8 months now. This has proved to be a very successful initiative that we started to help keep our residents informed, and more importantly, to be able to answer any questions that you have. So I want to thank all of those that submitted questions, those that are online listening right now, and those that will listen as we post this, record this, and post it to all of our social media platforms. So once again, welcome, and we're going to go ahead and get started. We do have quite a few of our directors on the call as well, beside myself. Chief D. Giovanni, Captain D. Giovanni, our police chief, is on. Chief Harrington, our fire chief, is on. Tedra Allen, our city clerk, is on as well. Raj Verma, our utilities director, is on. Aaron Kendrick, our CFO, is on. My assistant Lisa is on assisting, and I'm sure some of our other directors will join as we go along. But if Lisa, if we could go to the next slide, please. Okay, thanks. This is the agenda we'll use as we always have. I'll give an update on some of the project initiative we have going on in the city with us. I want to make sure that you all not only are staying in touch with us, but please spread the word to your friends, neighbors, and family to stay in touch with us using our social media platforms that we have. Then we'll go through the question and answer period. We received several questions before this session, and we'll answer each of those. Then we'll give an opportunity for anybody who may be on to go ahead and ask questions, and then we'll conclude by wrapping up with some important events we have coming up in the city in the next few months. Next slide, please, Lisa. And so if you do have a question as we're going through this, just please press the Q&A button and you can type in your question, and then when we get to the question and answer period, we'll go ahead and answer those. Next slide, please. So I give a few updates on what's going on in the city. The good news is our splash pad was closed for a little while. We were repairing the filtration system and then had some other mechanical things that we had to be repaired. Those have all been repaired. So we've been able to reopen the splash pad. We're going to be resurfacing it in the near future. Our Public Works Department is now assessing that, and then we'll take a few days to resurface that. So we'll have to close it just for a couple of days while it's being resurfaced. But it is up and running now, so please come down and enjoy the splash pad at the Pool and Tennis Center. Also, I just noticed that our Stacy Weiss, our Parks and Rec director, is on as well. Want to go through our short-term rental registration. I know I touched on this last time, but this is a new initiative in the city. Our commission passed an ordinance where anybody who's doing short-term rentals by the state definition, the city definition, has to register their short-term rental. There is a registration fee. There's also a requirement for our folks to go out and inspect the property to make sure that it's safe. And this initiative started about 2 months ago, so we are starting to cite those that are in violation of this ordinance. You can get the information by going to our website. We have a area of our website directed totally to short-term rentals. There it is on the screen there. And that also, that website also has resources for those who want to register a complaint about a short-term rental. And there's a 24/7 hotline and also a means to submit an email complaint if you have an issue with short-term rentals. Next slide, please. Oh yeah, and this is, well, this is how you can submit a complaint. Again, it's on that same link on our website, and there's the 24/7 hotline that's also on the website. All right, next slide, please. I'm going to ask our fire chief to jump in here, but as you may know, a few months ago, our city commission approved the purchase of a new rescue vehicle, a new engine, and a new ladder truck. And there's the update on the engine that we should be getting that in April. And then the rescue has started, and we should be getting that sometime during the summer. But Chief, if you have anything to add, please do so now.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Napoli. The in April of this year, we should be getting our fire engine, which will be a Cooper City fire truck, as opposed to Broward Sheriff's Office. This truck, again, will be for residential and commercial use. It'll be able to pump 1,500 gallons per minute of water. It'll have a full complement of ladders and over 1,000 feet of supply line or supply hose. It'll have pre-connected hoses for rapid deployment that are already connected to the pump. It will have auxiliary lighting. Go ahead and utilize for nighttime operations. It will carry extrication equipment to be utilized in rescuing trapped victims. We'll have advanced life support medical equipment. It'll be staffed by a lieutenant, a driver engineer, and a firefighter paramedic. And just for the residents' knowledge, the every apparatus in Station 28 has the personnel that are all firefighters and paramedics. So everybody is dual trained, and if the engine has the advanced life support equipment on it, it will. It provides for no delay in medical treatment, and then we would be waiting for a transporting truck to go to the hospital. But there is no delay in actual treatment because everybody on all the trucks, on all the apparatus are firefighter paramedics.
Okay, hey, thanks, Chief. Next slide, Lisa, please. I'm going to ask our captain to jump in on this. I think we've mentioned this in several of our other previous Zooms at noon, but we have a significant initiative going on within the city to increase our technology to provide for the safety and security of our residents. And that consists of automatic license plate readers at strategic locations, cameras at strategic locations, and culminating in a real-time crime center. We will be able to integrate all of this and monitor on a 24/7 basis. But Chief, Captain DiGiovanni, if you wouldn't mind just going through these next couple slides and talking about the LPRs, the cameras, and the real-time crime center.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Napoli. Well, good afternoon to all the Cooper City residents that are with us. So as the city manager stated, we have really put forward a very holistic plan for the city of Cooper City. One of the priorities in the city is proactive public safety. That's actually was named as one of the strategic plan's objectives and goals. And so together with the city leaders, we put together a 4-phase technology plan to help keep Cooper City as one of the safest cities in the state of Florida. Phase 1 of that 4-phase plan that we put forward was installing fixed license plate readers at key junctures throughout the city. So in other words, we're creating an electronic wall to where anytime a felonious vehicle, a wanted subject is entering Cooper City, we would then receive a real-time alert to our on-duty staff. Currently, we have implemented probably about 50% to 60% of all of these locations that are live. It's important for the residents to know that within the first week of our first polls being live, we actually were alerted to felonious subjects entering into our city from Miami, and we're able to locate them, apprehend them, and arrest them before they committed any new crimes here in our city. And so actually the technology is already working and assisting us with keeping the residents safe. Another part of that plan, phase 2, was to implement strategic camera systems throughout the city. So for example, our key infrastructure, our sports complex, as we all know that the recreation here in Cooper City is very important. And we have a very vibrant recreation community, with these sports programs that take place at our wonderful parks. And so keeping those parks safe and keeping your vehicles safe and your purses safe is important. So we have actually implemented these camera systems that are now actually at the end of this week going to be complete. That's at City Hall, Memorial Park, Community Rec Center, Solon Fartleman Park, and now Flamingo West Park is going live by the end of the week. Those cameras are not just regular camera systems that you would purchase from Walmart. These are very high-tech camera systems that help self-learning analytics that will help give real-time alerts to us on anything that they deem to be suspicious. And we also were able to integrate that into the real-time crime center. That brings us to the next slide. And these are some pictures of some of the technology that we've already implemented. On the left-hand side, that's going to be a picture of a fixed license plate reader. And each one of those actually have a multi-sensor camera that gives us a feed of traffic, which will help us with traffic mitigation. And to the right, you'll see a picture of that camera as we would see it and be able to respond to any accidents that we might on view. In the next slide, we'll take you to the real-time crime center, which is a third phase of the 4-phase technology plan. And so actually, we're really excited. About 3 weeks ago, we started groundbreaking for our real-time crime center. It's being built down our old records room. We're repurposing old space, reimagining how we can be using that space to better serve the public. And so we're hopeful that the first quarter of this year, we're going to have the real-time crime center completed, where we're going to start pulling in all the feeds from phase 1, phase 2, into the real-time crime center, where we can real-time 24/7, 365 monitor those alerts and have a more proactive and responsible deployment of your resources in public safety. And then that brings us to the last phase, the phase 4, and that's how does the public join us in this program? So our HOAs, our community business leaders, our community partners like our clergy, well, we have created a program called Cooper City STARS, Cooper City Safer Through Active Real-Time Strategies. And what you're able to do is you're able to tie into these feeds by joining the Broward Sheriff's Office PPP program, the public-private partnership, and also here in Cooper City to where you join our STARS program, where we will be able to help you monitor cameras, let's say outside of your business plaza where there may be issues with trespassing or loitering. We'll now be able to help you monitor that. We've also created signage that should be on the next slide. And this is an example of if you sign up for the program, you register for that PPP program. There's also signage that you'll be able to post out that alerts any would-be criminals that your property is being monitored 24/7 by on-duty law enforcement. And that, we hope, will help with crime prevention. If we know that the police are going to be actively monitoring this lot and we want to commit a crime, but we're going to go somewhere else. We're going to go to another city where the police aren't so proactive. And so that we're hoping that this signage will be a crime prevention element as we partner together with the community.
Thanks very much, Chief.
You're very welcome.
So now I just want to make sure that everybody online understands how they can make ensure that they're connected with the city. You can go ahead and scan that QR code now if you have the capability, and you'll automatically be signed up for our e-newsletter. This comes out weekly and has authoritative information on what's going on in the city, events, activities. It does summaries of all of our commission meetings, but we also post that other newsletters online. So please go ahead and sign up for the newsletter if you already haven't. Make sure your friends and family have done so, because you'll be getting a lot of information on what's going on in the city. Next slide, please. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we are on all the social media platforms. There are our addresses right there. So please, whatever platform you use, or if you use them all, please sign up and follow the city at on all of the social media platforms. And then also, we did this a few months ago. We've transitioned from our emergency notification system. We used to have Code Red, and right now we transitioned to Everbridge for emergency notifications. The good thing is that we're actually not paying for this, because we have the state has a contract. So it's been not only an increase in the capability, but also a cost savings for the city. You can sign up for that on our website if you already haven't done so. And there's the address for you to go ahead and sign up. This is a tremendous capability. We used it twice since we've had it. We used it during the impending Hurricane Ian, and then during the recent shooting that we had, unfortunately, we used this notification system. But it's critical that we have this in place so that all residents can be notified on an emergency basis. Next slide, please. Okay, now we'll go ahead and get into the questions and answers that we received before. And then also, if you are a participant and you have an additional question, please go ahead and use the Q&A tab and type in your question, and we'll go ahead and answer that as well. So next slide, please. Yeah, unfortunately, I just mentioned, we unfortunately last month had a shooting at Clutch Coffee, in which one of the workers there was severely wounded. Fortunately, she appears to be doing well. She's on her feet now. But it was very unfortunate and in fact, a unique situation for Cooper City. We're just not used to that. But Clutch Coffee has decided to close their doors permanently. They've decided to close the business, and we are working with the workers at Clutch Coffee to go ahead and recognize them at our next recognition meeting, which will be February 14th at 5:30 p.m. Next slide, please. Yeah, we started this last year where we were putting out the holiday banners, and it really does add more of a hometown feel when we have the holiday banners out. And I know, several of you during our past meeting, Zoom at Noons, have asked about our beautification. Well, and this in particular is asking about the flowers and shrubs in our median. Well, we do have a strategy. We started a couple of years ago on the beautification process. And one of the key strategies in that is developing a landscape master plan, which is underway right now. And we have a vendor who we've contracted with, a consultant who we've contracted with, who is putting together this landscape master plan that'll really improve the uniformity of the landscaping throughout the city. And we'll also be including our monument signs and other aspects of the city to ensure that we have a uniform, beautiful, not only landscaping, but signage throughout the city. And so that's being done now. And we'll be bringing that plan once it's done to the city commission, and also asking for resident feedback once we get that master plan back. I don't know, Tom Good may have been on, but I don't think he's on right now. Oh yeah, he is. Tom, if you want to add anything further on the landscape master plan, please do so.
There's nothing to add, Mr. City Manager. You did an excellent job of outlining what that circumstance is. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tom. All right, next slide, please. So I mentioned this earlier about the ordinance that was passed by the City Commission and what we're doing to implement and enforce that ordinance. So next slide, please, Lisa. And Carlos, I know you are on. Carlos Vega, our Community Development Director, is on. I'm going to ask him to go through these next few slides.
Joe, I believe we lost him. We're going to try to get
Okay,
him
looks
back
like
on.
Carlos dropped off. Okay, well, anyway, as I mentioned earlier, we have to implement the city's ordinance. We acquired a software system that is able to identify the short-term rentals throughout the city. It does it through a variety of means. One primary mean is just monitoring all of the advertisements for Airbnbs and then identifying which of those are in the city. So that's one means, but we have other means, and to include reports from our residents who know that there's Airbnbs or short-term rentals in their vicinity and just reporting to us because they have issues with it. But what we're requiring is that they be registered and that they also be inspected to ensure for the safety of anybody who is using the short-term rental. Additionally, they have to abide by all of our codes to include noise, parking, that sort of thing. And so we continually monitor the Airbnbs that we know that are registered and have been permitted. But anybody who does not comply with the registration process is in violation of the code, and they will and are being cited. Next
And
slide.
Joe, we have Carlos on now.
All right. Carlos, we'll go to the next slide and go ahead and pick it up from there if you want to add anything.
Sure. No problem, Joe.
And so this next slide, and Carlos, if you want to answer the question, but the question was, did we inspect, and I already kind of touched on this, Airbnbs prior to them being opened up and making sure they've done everything to abide by our code and permitting process?
Right, Joe. And prior to our ordinance going into place in November of 2021, short-term rentals weren't registered with the city, and they didn't have to require any inspections by the city. Once we went into our ordinance, the ordinance requires that the building department does do an inspection of the properties. And so now all short-term rentals that are operating in Cooper City will require for the building department to do inspections of the property, and therefore we'll make sure that it's up to Florida Building Code standards and our Code of Ordinance standards.
Okay, great. Thanks, Carlos. Next slide, please. Well, this doesn't, the racing and the traffic does not apply only to Airbnbs, but this question was specifically, what is our plan to stop or lower street traffic and racing through the neighborhoods where our Airbnbs and short-term rentals are? So next slide, please. And Chief, I'll ask you to go ahead and answer this, because I know that you are working hard on traffic and traffic violations in the city.
Thank you, Mr. Napoli. So this is a very good question, and we certainly understand the concern from the community on this. The Airbnbs sometimes bring good guests who are well-behaved, and then sometimes they bring guests that aren't so well-behaved. And then there's a ripple effect of conduct, such as vehicles speeding down the street or doing donuts in the area. And so a lot of times, the way that we proactively address these concerns is through prevention and early reporting. And so, in other words, in the beginning, when residents see that a Airbnb is having new tenants come in, and you're going to see a lot of vehicles start showing up, blocking sidewalks, parking on the lawn because they need additional capacity for vehicles, that's the time that we're looking for the residents to call our team to report it to us, because if we can get there early and start citing those guests that are not supposed to be there for those basic city ordinance and maintaining those standards, that already sets a tone. It alerts my team that we're probably going to have some issues later on that night that might end up turning into street racing, when the partying starts. But we're also able to prevent it, because through the enforcement, you tend to push them somewhere else. So early reporting is going to be key. There's a lot of residents out there. If you call us and you report something suspicious, please give us an opportunity to get out there and deal with it early before it escalates. And then secondly, if we do actually have residents that are seeing this conduct happening, let us know immediately. We will go out there and start towing cars, citing and arresting anybody that we possibly can. And so it's going to be a partnership with the community and the residents with early reporting through crime prevention, and then us going out there and taking appropriate enforcement action. The last thing, Mr. Napoli, if I can say, I just want to remind the residents that the city has set up a hotline where you can report issues specifically to Airbnbs. So in the response on the screen, you'll see that there's a YouTube video on Cooper City's website for short-term vacation rentals that will help you understand how to report that. Or you can just call 954-833-5879, and you can report anything 24/7 tied to an Airbnb, and our teams will be alerted right away.
Great, thanks, Chief. Well, this is a relevant question as we went to 3 a.m. on Tuesday evening, but and this is just what is going on with the 11:30 cutoff time that was brought up at the last commission meeting. I mean, I will say that some some topics that the commission has to address just take quite a while to not only for them to discuss, but we get a lot of public input. During this last meeting, the public input lasted about three to 4 hours. And so the commission couldn't even start discussing the issue until all the public meeting was heard. So sometimes there's certainly reasons because of the items for discussion that meetings are going to go into extended hours in the morning. But just to answer the question specifically, this was brought up at the last commission meeting. Well, actually, I'm sorry, the previous commission meeting, not the January 24th, but the January 10th meeting. And what the commission asked us to do is not only look at the 11:30 cutoff time, but also look at some other items within our rules or how the city commission meetings are conducted and agenda procedures. So we're doing that now. We're working with our attorney, and on the February 14th meeting, we'll be bringing back the changes that would potentially include the 11:30 cutoff time, and then just some other minor changes that we may be recommending. So you can expect that to be done at the next commission meeting on February 14th. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, I think that's all the questions, but I do believe, Lisa, we did get a question. I'm going to go ahead and read it right now.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Will there be plans on giving the citizens of Cooper City, great question, citizens of Cooper City access to this real-time crime center data the captain discussed? We have access to monthly crime reports info on crime mapping, so this should fit in the same category. So Captain, I'll go ahead and let you answer that, but I think I can anticipate your answer, but please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I did actually, for that resident specifically, to type a response to her already. Essentially, I am providing regular updates to the city manager and commission on the implementation of all of our field technology and also the effectiveness in the operation of that field technology. And very often, this is going to be in the public setting, these reports. So at the commission meeting, you'll notice that I often will highlight those technology updates, the crime data tied to that, the crime arrests that are tied to it, and that will continue. Also, it's important to remember that the monthly reports, quarterly reports, and annual reports that I do provide the manager's public record. He posts them on the city website for the residents to see, and all the data that's pulled in or queried from, mined from that real-time crime center will be included in that raw data as well.
Thanks, Chief. Lisa, do we get any other questions?
Yes, we have another question. Is there a limit to the number of short-term rentals that will be allowed in the city?
I do not believe so. And Carlos, if you could jump in, I think we are not allowed to limit the number of short-term rentals, and that's by state statute. But Carlos, could you have anything to add? Carlos? I know he's on. I think he may be muted. But the answer to that is no. There is not a limit to the number of short-term rentals. Obviously, they all have to be registered. They have to be inspected, and they have to abide by our ordinance and all of the codes. But the state prohibits us from limiting the amount of short-term rentals that a particular individual could have. Any other questions, Lisa?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next slide. I think it's on. We're going to be talking about upcoming events, the fun things going on in the city. And Stacy, would you mind going through this list?
Thank you, Joe. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So our next event we have is our Senior Expo, which will be held at Cooper City High School on February 4th. It's from 10 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a great opportunity to come out and see all the resources available for individuals that may be looking, it could be exercise or maybe need help planning future. If you need attorney assistance, if you need assistance, financial assistance, we'll have an array of vendors out there to talk to. After that, the following weekend, we have our Mayor's Chess Challenge. It's an annual challenge that we do. It's held at the Pool and Tennis Center, and it's from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock in the morning. it's a really good opportunity to come and play. Not only the mayor, but usually some commissioners come out too and play. And then February 22nd, we'll begin our resident registration for our garage sale that will take place at the community center. And the garage sale will be held March 25th at Flamingo West Park. And of course, we are moving fast in planning our Founders Day activities, which will take place on Saturday, March 11th. We'll have our morning activities and parade held within the city. And then for the afternoon activities, we will shift out to Brian Piccolo Park for the afternoon and evening activities there. So we have an array of events and activities scheduled. Of course, for more information, you can always log online or call the Parks and Recreation Department directly to get the specifics for the events.
Thanks, Stacy. And one thing I would like to mention, and Captain Giovanni jump in, is this Saturday, and I just don't know the exact times, we have a shredder-thon hosted by BSO. What are the times on that?
Thank you, Mr. Napoli. So yes, this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the police station. So 10580 Sterling Road.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Mr. Napoli, that's
Yeah, go
also for the Operation Medicine Cabinet too. So any prescription bottles that they're looking to bring that they want to drop off, and they can get a gift card for.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chief.
And Joe, we have another question.
Okay. I'm
Can
gonna-
the city refuse to renew a short-term rental license if there have been too many issues with the Airbnb owner and or renters of the short-term rentals? Can the city not renew the license of theirs if there are too many issues with the property altogether?
Carlos, are you on? Okay, yeah, Carlos is not on, and that's a very good question. My gut says we probably can, if there's, it would need to go through the entire magistrate process because of they're in violation of certain codes, or they have not properly registered. My gut says yes, but I don't want to make that a firm answer. So
Mr.
yeah, go
Mr.
ahead.
Napoli,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. If I could chime in for you,
Yeah,
you are
please do.
correct.
Yeah.
You are correct. The city ordinance, section 6-122 covers suspension and revocation. So there are specific criteria that would lead to a certain number of violations within a set period of time that would go up to revocation and suspension of that license. So any of the residents that want to go to the city's Unicode website, they can go to ordinance number 2126, and then section 6122 covers suspension and revocation.
Okay. Thanks, Chief. Thanks for clarifying that.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, that's a great question. Any other
And-
questions, Lisa?
Yes, we have another question.
All right, great.
Is it possible to make the citations stricter for Airbnb guests? Fine-wise.
Yeah, that would require a change to the ordinance, but certainly. And then, going through the magistrate process, the magistrate uses guidelines, and up to, as Chief said, revocation. But any changes to what the fees are right now would require us to change the ordinance. Chief, did you have anything else to add to that?
You're correct, Mr. Napoli. The fee structure would require a change in the city's fine structure. I believe it's in chapter 13.
Right.
But we regularly do review that and bring back recommendations for the commission.
Thanks, Chief. Any other questions, Lisa?
No, sir.
Well, I appreciate the questions that are being asked now. They were all excellent questions. But if you do have questions, further questions, please send them in. We'll do this next month. But of course, you can contact us anytime for any questions and issues that you have within the city, or any concerns that you may have. Please feel free to contact myself, our department directors, obviously your commissioners, for any issues that you have. We try to address every issue or complaint that we receive from our residents in an expeditious manner, and also try to keep you informed on the progress when you bring up an issue. So don't wait till next month to bring up a question. If you have something before then, please do. But we will do this once again next month. I want to thank everybody for their participation, the questions that were answered both before and after or during this session. I want to thank all of our department directors who are on. We have a tremendous team, leadership team here in Cooper City. Couldn't ask for more qualified and talented department directors, as you can see by just the way they were able to articulate their questions and answers. So please, once again, any issues or questions you have, we are always open and ready to answer your questions, address any issues, address any complaints you have. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Thanks, everybody.